video is a gardening glossary, terms, word meanings and guide. Frost protection. Frost conditions, which occur when the temperature falls below 0 degrees C, which is 32 degrees Fahrenheit. They can cause severe damage to growing plants. Both air and ground frost can occur, and ground frost can be the most serious. Frost causes the water in the plant's tissue to freeze, and a long period of frost can kill tender plants. Desiccation is another kind of injury which occurs in frosty weather. The water in the soil freezes and cannot be absorbed by the roots of growing plants, so they dry out. There are various methods of frost protection available to the gardener. Frames and cloches offer excellent protection for most plants, or you can cover crops with straw, bracken, polythene sheeting or layers of newspaper. Protect fruit trees by draping with hessian. Certain brassicas can be protected by carefully folding the tough outer leaves over the more tender inner curds. Remember that frost is also of some benefit to gardeners. Some vegetables, such as parsnips, improve in flavour after being touched by frost, and frost action actually helps to break down heavy soils. The word fruit means a case containing one or more seeds. It is usually formed from the ovary and ovule, which develop into the fruit wall and the seed respectively. This is a botanical definition. The word fruit is used in a general way to refer to the edible part of certain plants. Apart from the obvious fruits that are grown, many vegetables are in fact fruits. For example, tomatoes, aubergines, cucumbers, and the pods of peas and beans. Fumigation. This is a method of destroying pest or disease-producing organisms by using poisonous fumes, although not recommended today. Although there are special techniques for fumigating areas out of doors, fumigation is most useful in closed places like greenhouses or frames. There are a variety of chemicals available for fumigation dependent on country and also depending on the organisms to be destroyed. These are sold in smoke canisters of different sizes. Choose the right size for the greenhouse. To fumigate a greenhouse, first be sure there are no leaks and that all doors and windows are tightly shut. Light the canister, place it in the centre of the greenhouse and leave quickly, having protective items. Follow instructions on the canister and leave the greenhouse closed for the specified period. The smoke will settle as a fine film on the foliage, forming a fine protective covering. After fumigation, air the greenhouse thoroughly. Fungi form a large and varied group in the vegetable kingdom. Although they differ widely in form and appearance, all fungi lack chlorophyll and are therefore unable to manufacture their own food. Hence why they are parasites living on other plants or decaying matter. To the gardener, fungi, with the notable exception of mushrooms, are regarded detected as disease-producing organisms. Many common crop ailments, including mildews, smuts, spots and scabs, are caused by fungi, and various products known as fungicides are employed to destroy them. Galls are abnormal growths on plants. They can appear on leaves, stems, roots or flowers, and they are caused usually by insects laying eggs, but sometimes by mites or fungi. Galls can be of any shape or size, but they are most commonly rounded, blister-like lumps. Examples of galls include the swellings of big bud on blackcurrant, red blistering on pear leaves caused by mites, distortion of pear fruitlets caused by midges, and the serious fungus-produced crown gall disease of fruit trees. Plants suffering from galls should be treated immediately, as these infestations can be severe and limit cropping in many cases. This is one of the most common insecticides, as well as one of the most valuable to the home grower. A form of benzine is extremely toxic to insects, but relatively harmless to other forms of life. Pests destroyed by the gamma HCH include ants, wireworms, leather jackets, capsids, thrips, leafhoppers and most aphids. Gamma HCH should never be used on melons, marrows or cucumbers, nor should it be applied to crops within 2 weeks of harvesting. The insecticide is available as dust, sprays, aerosols, smoke pellets and seed dressings. In some countries it is available under Lindane or may not be allowed. In the system of classification for plants, genus is a basic unit which encompasses many species. All the members of a particular genus have certain characteristics in common. They are also susceptible to the same pests and diseases. Cabbages, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, turnips and swedes, for example, are all members of the genus Brassica. Germination takes place when a young plant escapes from the seed coat by thrusting a root down into the soil and a shoot up into the air. As germination will only take place under favourable conditions, the gardener must ensure that the seed is provided with the correct amount of air, warmth, moisture and light at sowing time and during the early stages of growth. Times for germination vary widely, from a few days for radishes to several weeks for parsley. Germination is complete when the first seed leaves unfold and the seedling becomes self-supporting. That is, it can manufacture its own food and no longer relies on the stored nourishment of the seed. Grafting is a method of propagation often used for fruit trees. The aim is to unite the stem of the selected variety of fruit to a suitable rootstock for the purpose of producing another fruiting plant. The stem and the rootstock must be very closely related or the graft will not be successful. The principle behind grafting is that a continuous close contact between the exposed living cells of rootstock and stem will produce a union and growth will continue as a single plant. Green manure is a term used to describe a green leafy crop grown specifically to be dug back into the soil. Green manuring is an effective and inexpensive way of improving the organic content of the soil. By stimulating the action of nitrogen-fixing bacteria, it also helps to conserve the soil's stores of nitrogen, and if certain crops are used, the nitrogen content will actually be increased. Green manure should be dug in when the plants are fully grown, but before they have produced seed. After the crop has been incorporated into the soil, the initial effect is that the action of the bacteria causes a nitrogen loss. This can, however, be easily remedied by giving a dressing of nitrogenous fertilizer or of sulfate of ammonia. The loss of nitrogen is formed only temporary situation, and the soil will eventually recover and be left much richer than before. The most common crops for using green manuring include clover, mustard, rape, ryegrass and vetch. Annual weeds can also be used, provided they have not seeded.